What's up? Welcome to the Spiritual Awakening session of the Evolve with Sheyi David podcast. This section is where I share my personal revelations, insights, research, theories, and unpopular opinions about spiritual realities. So, before you share your comments, this conversation is only for persons on a particular level of spiritual awakening and exploration, and of course, a level of understanding, and whose mind is filled and not solid. And that is my disclaimer. Enjoy. Life is a dimensional experience. Every human being is a complex entity existing in three distinct but interconnected realities: spirits, the soul, and the body. Each of these realms has its own unique needs. Each has its own voice. And here's the truth: when one is ignored, imbalance creeps in, and that imbalance will eventually affect the whole of you. Think about it. You've seen people who seem to have it all: money flowing in, career stable, fame spreading wide, yet deep down, they are fighting depression, spiritual emptiness, or maybe even battling serious health issues. That right there tells us something important, that true success is not excelling in just one area. It is balance across all the three realms. Science teaches that there are 5 human senses: taste, smell, touch, sight, and hearing, based on the physical human attributes. But in reality of the 3 existential realms of man, theoretically there are 9 senses. The tragedy here is that most of humanity majorly react and respond to situations with the 5 physicals, often ignoring the others. And when you neglect those higher senses, you cut yourself off from the full experience of life, which unfortunately is also the basis of death. And that's even emphasized by the Holy Scriptures in Romans 8:6. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. So here is a thought: what if science itself is actually the study of spirituality? And what if technology is simply the science of making spiritual truth tangible in our material world in order for humans to have the relatable, tangible experience of it? Because human, now I'm referring to humus, the flesh part of a man, is only conscious in this physical realm where earth is a portion of. To expand this thought is to establish that God's intent is for man to stretch and scale beyond the obvious, to bring spiritual truth into this tangible realm. That's why He allowed us to witness miracles. Miracles were not just for drama. They were meant to show us the extent of what can be and should be achieved on earth, and for us to understand the principles. Yes, principles. Meaning, God wants us to understand the principles of miracles, to be able to replicate and scale the manifestation or materialism of spiritual truths in this tangible world. Therefore, a miracle is an intervention of God in a situation at a time when the tangible resources needed to create the impact of a spiritual truth is not readily available as at that time needed. So, like one of the world's very profound top leader, Pastor Kunle expanded on this with the example of how that the miracle of the Red Sea, as described in the scriptures, happens almost every minute in present day. But we don't see it as a miracle because now man has been able to understand the principle behind it. More so is the agenda, not the drama of that miracle, which one of it is simply to transport the children of Israel from one end of the Red Sea to the other safely. And today, We have airplanes flying over the Red Sea almost every minute, fulfilling that part of the agenda. Do you see now? The miracle was not just the event, it was the principle of tangible possibility. So, it is safe to say that every tangible thing that you see around is a representation of a spiritual truth. And each of these tangible realities is in themselves existing simultaneously in parallel universes and reporting back to God. So, faith without work is dead, according to James 2:17, is to establish that the evidence or the proof of a particular spiritual truth to human form is ensuring to work or make available the tangible element, that is, what you can see, feel, or touch as a physical substance or material that represents that spiritual truth. Otherwise, it doesn't exist in any reality. And so you understand this more in the definition of faith in Hebrews 11:1, which reads, "Now faith is the substance of things hoped for." And another word for substance here is material or physical. It then further reads, "The evidence of things not seen." That is the proof that what you cannot see with your physical eyes actually do exist, so that we can conclude that faith equals hope plus work. Now, hope here means that intangible belief or imagination of yours. And work here means the preparation of the tangible elements required to bet to the physical environment what you have imagined or believed. So, therefore and again, everything tangible that you see, feel, or touch around you is faith in itself. That is, representations, evidences, or proofs of spiritual truths, just as you as a person is a proof that God exists. Now, let's bring this home. If you and I learn to activate and engage all these 9 senses of our existence, we step into a higher balance, a higher control, and a higher flow of life. This balance is what empowers us to live fully, to be able to spread God's fragrance everywhere we go and maximize our potentials. So before we jump into the engagement rules of the 9 senses, we need to understand something critical, and that is the reality of life imbalance. So picture this: an individual who has built an empire, worked tirelessly, and accumulated vast financial wealth. However, in the pursuit of that success, they have neglected their body, failing to rest, eat well, or exercise. And years down the line, they are diagnosed with a critical illness that riches can barely face. They excelled financially, yes, but they failed physically. On the flip side, consider someone deeply committed to spiritual growth, fasting regularly, praying, and dedicating themselves to religious study. However, they have failed to invest in intellectual growth, financial knowledge, or career and talent advancement. So, while their faith, which is hope in this context, is strong, they find themselves struggling to navigate the physical realities of life. They have not been able to materialize or prepare the tangible environment for what they had hoped for to be bettered. And then there's the intellectual genius, who is a brilliant thinker, a problem solver, a book lover, sharp mind. But without spiritual grounding, they face existential crisis, battling emptiness and struggling with meaning and purpose. They ask questions like, what's the point of it all? And eventually sink into confusion because they cannot fathom the transformational power or spiritual truth of what they know or have created. In the next episode, we'll break down the 3 realms of human existence one by one, their needs and their engagement rules, and of course, how you can start living in total balance. Hello, my name is Shay David, the Chief Talent to Startup Entrepreneurship Development Officer at Evolve Hub, where we empower talents, startups, and businesses with the basic entrepreneurial resources to grow and scale as they evolve to impact the world with their individual uniqueness. To learn more about how we can evolve with you, visit www.evolveglobal.com.ng. See you on the other side.